Where's he right now?
Dan M,
We're gonna
boys.
get there.
Let's get him, boys. He's just sticking with the MP9 as well, isn't he? Unbelievable.
Why not?
It's working. Absolutely. Keep it.
This is FNATIC again. They go for these explosive plays quite often. Flusher showed a little bit too much leg going down that ladder and has been caught for it. JW has managed to make his way out to his old teammate's namesake. See if he has the same sort of magic that Olaf once did. Fact is, though, it seems like OG are more than willing to brawl in a lot of these situations. They're not falling back from any of these angles or taking a more passive stance. They are more than happy to fight in every position they can, reclaiming ground as they go. Note that while all of this mayhem has been going on A, Mantu has also taken an aggressive stance on upper. So they know that at the moment they can't be heading in towards this B site. This is really enjoyable to watch from OG. They're not giving FNATIC any ground whatsoever.
Constricting them. With every second, they lose more and more oxygen. They are looking to try and burst out, take the fight to OG once again. The MP9 this time will not claim any more kills. Lots of weakened Ts moving and lumbering their way to the site. They have 20 more seconds at their disposal, but they may not need that time after all because they are being put 6 foot under. That's a beautiful flick from Crims, though. Spinning around on a swivel, takes the head off of Valda and doesn't quite know where these last 2 CTs are. They're clumped together. The timing could not have been worse for him. He had the right idea, but he has to stick the bomb. Otherwise, he runs out of time, runs out of health, and OG do successfully get the retake.
Just unfortunate. Like, you're not going to expect both CT members to make your way through pop, so he just tries to bait one of them out. Lovely spray down here from MPK as well, but that's dirty from Crims. We've seen a few crazy shots today, but it seems like a lot of them have been on the bat of the team that's losing. Of course, as we mentioned, though, we expect both teams to have those strong CT sides. Like, there were definitely some issues the last time they played with the T sides. So FNATIC, they're not in a bad spot here. And they're about to try and aggress on a lot of angles. Valde has been completely caught off guard. And, wow, it's a Molotov run for Flusher. He's going to take a hell of a lot of damage. Weird, though, because Crims has dedicated himself. He's selling a fake. He's getting the kills, but everyone else has gone in the other direction. MBK is going to be the solo defender, and sure, Crims has gone down, but now the A site belongs to FNATIC.
It does, but they could have an intruder in the midst. That smoke may actually do more harm than good because MBK can play around this. He's getting intel for his teammates. Roland pushes back in again, and the timing, very rough. It was on OG's side last round. This time it works against them. And I don't think the OG want to feasibly throw away an AWP and an AK. Sure, they have plenty of money to replenish these guns, but hold on to them. It's still early days on train.
Again, I feel like this game is the battle of the brains. Like, sure, we've seen the likes of Alexi B like get aggressive with MP9s and get a couple of interesting frags for himself. It's been those mid rounds, and again, this round is one off of those. They got an entry kill. Now, the way that we normally talk about the B site is you get that one kill, and it's basically yours. Like that's it. That's the round sort. Well, it's not over, but the retake begins because the bomb's so easy to get planted, and you don't normally bolster your B site defense. They get that entry, and just almost instantly, they're back towards A. They send Crims in as a fake, which is a risk in itself because he goes down without too much of a fight. But at that point, they get the more viable after plant position. Retaking B, easy. Retaking A, that's a different ball game altogether.
I feel like because of all of the angles that you have to be cognizant of, that retaking A on train, if it's like an even 3v3, is one of the hardest sites to retake in all of CS. Like, you've got the verticality of heaven and the trains themselves, so many longer angles. It is so very difficult to do. So makes a lot of sense the FNATIC would prioritize that. They may be going for it again. The bomb carrier boosting over the run boost for JW to peek on the right-hand side of Ivy from the CT's perspective. No one is there, and MBK gets trodden on by Brolan's AK. That's a huge pick. And that forces a bit of attention away from Ivy, where the bulk of the T's are currently residing, over onto main. So this opens up a few doors, a few gates that they can bust through momentarily. Alexi has to turn tail and run momentarily. Now Mantu watching onto Ivy, spots one player crossing, can't connect the shot, has to fall back, giving up so much room and so much maneuverability across to FNATIC, and they mobilize their army, they mobilize the AKs. Nothing but headshots, nothing but the way of the Swedes. And OG again have to save.
A few awkward fights there as well, and I feel like that's where FNATIC really thrive. Like, if anything, they've also released a few videos in the past that makes me think that they don't mind a few awkward situations at all. But we can move away from that. I don't think we're going to see too many of those videos for a while. Maybe once we get back to LAN events. But yeah, there were moments there where you go, oh, if maybe they win that duel. And now it's starting to be a real punish, because we spoke about in the last round how, hey, you know, the money, it's going to buy them for days. They got plenty of cash to rebuy. This time they don't. Now, sure, Mantu, Issa, they got some decent cash. Maybe Alexi B takes an SMG once again, and they do go into this one. The only thing that will really be a miss, though, is whether or not they can actually get the AWP out, because, well, they have a decision to make. Do they go for a couple of extra rifles, maybe miss the AWP, or do they potentially leave one of their players on a weaker purchase? And, well, Vince, they're actually going to take a timeout to decide, which I think is a pretty good point.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. Interesting. It's a third on the winnings list of gamers from Jordan. Winnings amount to 2.8% of first place. There you go.
I still remember casting him all the way back. I think it was the WSG Middle Eastern qualifier. I can't remember. It was his. I know his team name. It was something 5. I can't remember what it was. I'm sure there'll be someone out there who knows the answer to that. But I've never seen a harder carry in my entire life. Like, no offense if you're one of the other 4 players on that team, but he literally had to try and 1v5 in most matches. It was ridiculous. Bear in mind, Woxic and like the Turkish teams were also in that qualifier. So there was obviously the old Space Soldiers and teams like that just battered them. But Brolin, he is starting to do some of that himself. A 2-man entry. Of course, this is an investment as well. This wasn't like a break for OG where they go for some pistols and they wait for the next round. Nope. They put everything they had into this round, and Brolin's looking to take it away. Flusher has just out-dueled the AWP waiting for him. And well, we're now starting to see the FNATIC we really wanted to see. All-out brawly, aggressive players, taking individual fights, and more importantly, unlike the last map, winning them.
I'm winning them convincingly. Like, the last 3 rounds, OG have been eyeing up saves with 2 players left and never really been in amongst the action. Brolant, who's already picked up 2 kills, could be on for 2 better. If he decides to extend down towards the CT spawn, he may find the straggling CTs. The economy on the terrorist side, pretty good. A couple players in particular will be certainly prosperous, but not good enough, FNATIC feel, to justify hunting for these weapons. So they will give it up. 6-5 will be the score. FNATIC regained the lead, and the pressure mounting on OG. I would not have really held it against you after that first map if you'd said that OG were your favorites to take this, but credit to FNATIC. They've bounced back, and they've bounced back hard.
Yeah, for sure. They're looking very, very good. And as said, I have a lot more faith in their CT side of this map. So I think clearly we're seeing the players perform better on an individual level as well. But also one of the things that really brought things home for OG when they played last time is they had a lot of very big clutch plays. The individuals were there. They were performing to the highest of standards. I'm not saying they're missing. I'm saying that FNATIC are doing a much better job of taking it away from them. We've seen one, of course, the 10-second defuse coming out from Issa earlier, but that's been few and far between since the early rounds went their way. And while FNATIC have now, if anything, started to dominate.
Yeah, that's a good point that you raise as well. Like, one of these rounds, as we just kind of talking over what should be a fairly stompy round for FNATIC. One of the rounds off the back of a defuse. We've had a couple of other kind of strange, wacky rounds where OG just about managed to hold on and win. So on another day, you're looking at FNATIC with like an 8-3 scoreline, maybe even 9-2. And things getting kind of out of control. When it comes to rifle rounds, I feel like FNATIC have been head and shoulders above OG. So this could very well end up being a 10-5. As I said, it should be easy, by the way. This has turned into a 3-on-3, and the HP bars of the teams are actually terrible. How has this happened? FNATIC, you are very much in contention to throw this round away, throw that lead away, and allow the CTs to get back into this, and they're going to do just that.
God.
I had written this off, Tom. I assumed this would be easy, but it was anything but.
There's no respite today, is there? There's not a round where we could just sit there and go, yeah, let's just have a little calm down and a chat, and then they go, no, sorry, Vince, you're going to have to pay attention here. OG are probably going to win this round. This is ridiculous. This was MBK fighting against multiple players, spamming the walls to chip extra damage. And then this from Valde, bear in mind, he had armor there. He didn't even need the 2 instant headshots, but he just decided to style on them at the end. And it's almost comedic at this point, like mention, oh yeah, they had these big clutch rounds that sort of got them through, and there were definitely some moments where FNATIC let things slip, but you know, it hasn't been happening so much today. Well, there you go. They've lost to some pistols, they lost to an aggressive A main take, and that was it really. There wasn't like a huge amount of levels, I would say, to that from OG. I wouldn't say that was like an Alexi B tactical mastermind. That was just MBK and Valde just fighting tooth and nail for the round. And FNATIC 6-6, they're still in a very good spot. Let's not like go out of control here, but this is a very easy way to let OG off for what has not been the greatest CT side.
That's very true. FNATIC still, you'd say, in pole position, but the fact that they have conceded 2 rounds that at least it should never be going the way of OG, you think what could have been? They may be having that in the back of their minds, but they have to focus on these last 3 rounds of the half. Can they come out leading? Perhaps not. Valde says no. His M4 does the talking for him alongside Alexi, and now JW hopping, leaping into his death. 7-6.
I think if he had killed him at the end of that, I would have tapped out. I'd be like, no, that's not acceptable. Yeah, this is a position that Valde's played quite a few times as well. It's normally in combination with Mantu on the AWP. I think this time it was Alexi B who'd picked up a secondary. So they have switched things up a little bit in terms of their defensive dynamic over the last few rounds. And hey, at least in that one, it was very, very clean. And if anything, that round that they stole away is definitely enough to turn things around. Like a 9-6 CT half, it's not ideal, but it can work. And Flusher, he's having this battle once again with MBK, a battle as old as time itself. But no one actually coming out worse for wear at this point. A little bit of extra damage done onto Nathan, but not anything he's going to worry too much about. Nade has just been caught in the pocket of Brolin. He's down to just 14? JW? That was completely through smoke. I guess he just pre-fired the angle of the edge of the box, but hey, that was pretty sick.
Especially as it killed MBK in a bit of an off angle as well. Like maybe the trajectory of the grenade, he just kind of guessed roughly where MBK was, but that is a hell of a pick, especially considering the grenade that went off. And OG, who have pickpocketed FNATIC a couple of times already, now maybe up against it. There's a deagle in the hands of Brolin, but the rest of the team they're up against has AKs, 2 flashes and there's a Molotov. 35 seconds allocated to the Swedes. They need to start making a move towards the A side. With the bomb under control, not really any room to second guess themselves. So it's all systems go. Shift through the gears, get onto that side, get up close against your adversaries, and Brolan, weakened with the deagle, still comes out for the frag. Alexi falls back to the site and falls down permanently. And judging from the positions of Mantu, but more importantly Valde, I don't think they go for this. They save instead. So it looks like we will have a very close half of Counter-Strike. It's been pretty one-sided today in all of our maps. Anything but here.
Yeah, the worry is though is just the connotations of the map itself, I guess, because as said, the last time that we saw them play, Fnatic managed to win 8 CT rounds in a row before a few really big, impressive clutches from OG managed to drag it over the line. And that was after a fantastic CT half from them as well. So the fact that Fnatic have currently got this level on, I think, arguably the most CT-sided map in the game at the moment. Like, Nuke has become a lot less CT-sided than it used to be. Now, there's going to be a few upgrades there, and sure, the Fnatic economy isn't amazing, but I don't think they're going to mind too much considering they are going into the last round. They will have a purchase. They'll be able to juggle around the weaponry, and everybody except JW is going to have nades. But considering we've seen him in a fair few rounds just basically jump out of main and try and get a pick, which I think he might do again, it's not really the end of the world. He doesn't have any grenades.
Look how quickly he's up there as well. He nearly gets 2. Not just shredding MBK, but tagging Issa down to 26. Another rapid round right up in the grill of OG, but Mantu Zorp delivers. Yep, they've pulled the plug. They've gone straight to B, and look, OG could not have bit down on this harder.
The mid rounds, man. The mid rounds coming out of Fnatic have been ridiculous. Like, I don't know how they keep their comms clean enough to call that while players are running through smokes and molotovs on A. That was an important kill, though. Valde, oh, it's awkward for Issa. Now, they now know where one of the 2 players are, and Golden, wow, he's the only healthy member left of this Fnatic squad. He needs to try and find something. The smoke actually gives him a bit of an angle over the corner of it, but realistically, I don't know how much he's going to be able to get done from here, and Mantu snipes him out of the air. It is Valde to close, and there's plenty of time left for OG on the retake. 8-7, a decent resurgence from them, but ultimately, that's still a very, very good half of Fnatic on the T side. They need this second half to be good if they're going to stay in this matchup. We'll find out if they can do it after a short break.
Yeah. Unknown Brain. Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
I know that I gotta stay away from all your games, yeah. I know that I found somebody else to love me one day, yeah. You'll realize the grass ain't greener on the other side, no. You did me dirty for the last time, so now I gotta say goodbye. So now I gotta say
Yeah, my life is lovely now, I'm focused on me. You said you were about to die, I guess the car is on E. But see, I ain't even tripping, cause I just chose to believe that somebody gon' come around and give me just what I need. I don't wanna see you finding, see you looking down and out. Coming to me crying, saying you miss having me around. Gave you chances and you blew it, you so easily influenced. All the times you told me beat it, now you gotta face the music, I'm saying
I know that I gotta stay away from all your games, yeah. I know that I found somebody else to love me one day, yeah. You'll realize the grass ain't greener
Yeah.
Especially when he gets that orb. And last time they did have their struggles versus FNATIC. But mainly that's because FNATIC loved to reclaim map control. The same way we saw from OG. It was an impressive stance when they did win rounds. The problem was FNATIC was so explosive that they found it very, very hard to deal with. Now in the pistol round, I think it'd be good for OG to take it going onto that T side because we know how tough it can be.
Distinct difference. If you missed the first pistol, you actually missed a treat. It was A main, Pop Dog, B. OG, in the meanwhile, a bit slower, a little bit more orthodox. Yeah. It caught me off guard both times as well, Tom, I've got to admit. So if it caught us off guard, I'd probably caught FNATIC and OG off guard. And now Issa, just waiting. I think the whole purpose of this play is to see if someone can cross, shoot them in the back and then execute off that. But now that no one on the CTs has moved a muscle, not an inch, not a millimeter, he now has to try and turn the aggressor, try and get some prey, become the predator, but instead he is hunted down by Brolan and JW. The bomb is getting planted in amongst all of this frenzy, but you said that FNATIC have no problems giving ground up to retake. They're very good on the aggression. They may have lost the plant, but they're getting a ton of kills. Mantu holding on for dear life with his Glock and is doing tons of damage in the process. Alexi B from above, from heaven, smites down onto Golden, and Mantu tries to clean up the rest. They know that Alexi is up in heaven right now as he jumps across. The bomb's not planted for him, which is why he jumped across to this side. It gives him a better angle to check the site. Crims has to try and fake this. Is coming around the corner, Alexi, and wins the round for OG. Incredibly close, but they stave off the retake.
Did Crims not stick that? Did he just tap it and wait? Because it didn't look like he was defusing and he had a kit, so I feel like he probably would have had it. I'm not sure what just happened there. That was really weird, but hey, Alexi B, he's got the job done. That's all that matters. And Mantu, you spoke about like whether or not Alexi B was human. Mantu was being shot by 3 different people for a solid like 15 seconds and just manages to hold out that whole time. No idea how. Yeah, FNATIC probably going to be a little bit disappointed. They let that one slip. Crims definitely didn't look happy. But look at the buys. They're not that far apart. OG have gone for a lot of utility. That's their real benefit. And by the looks of it, they might have a full-on execution set up for this B side.
Always love to see the MP7 get some play. MBK has it in his very capable hands. There was a brief moment before the smoke plume for a shot, and they have connected that. Good kills, good damage inflicted from FNATIC, but they instantly get countered. Alexi and Mantu Issa. A dangerous game of whack-a-mole, and Brolan gets splattered. 2v3 in favor of OG, but they are hemorrhaging in the form of Mantu, and this is still a winnable round, Tom, for FNATIC. It's going to be a tough one, but if JW can get the drop, it was doable. Unfortunately, with his life being deemed forfeit, unlikely that Crims, as good as he is, can clutch this 1v3. At least has the element of surprise. That is the only thing going for him. And that element has been taken away alongside the second round of the half. 10-7 lead.
I don't think I've ever seen more like mid-round calls being made by in-game leaders. I expected it to be a battle of the big brains in this one, but that's now like multiple times we've seen a team completely take a site and then just give it back up and just go back in the other direction. I have to say I'm really enjoying it as well, because firstly, most of the time it's worked. I think that's fair to say. And secondly, because that's one of the main criticisms we have of teams is you have these really static setups where it's like, we have a plan to go B. If that plan doesn't work, we're still going to try and go B, but we'll probably just die along the way. Whereas in these circumstances, a lot of the time they go, we have B, but wouldn't it really screw with them if we went A now? And it's like, it is impressive. I wonder if there is going to end up being like counter plays of just delaying rotations, but then, well, you're playing into your opponents again. So it becomes this massive game of cat and mouse, except both people are the cat and they think the other is the mouse.
That's actually an awesome way of putting it. But maybe a wolf in sheep's clothing kind of situation as well. OG, certainly not the sheep in this encounter. They have mowed down with ferocity onto FNATIC. 4-round lead established, but it was all the eco. FNATIC now comes straight back in. You mentioned the AUG in the previous map. Well, it's been picked up again, and it's in the hands of Brolan once more. And Crims as well.
This is the problem with this matchup is I'm not allowed to have caster bias, but I really want FNATIC to win so we get Inferno.
Yeah, I want a third map as well. I've got to admit, this has been a lot of fun. Also, best series always end in Inferno. It is a fact of life. NBK, though, he's running the gauntlet straight out onto this A site. It's the trade to start. CT's come back, at least for the moment, but it doesn't last long at all. It's almost like just a flurry of back and forth frags, but eventually it ends. Man2, 20 HP, 3 players to find. It's not happening this time, but they have got money in the bank. 3 players with over $6,000. They'll be able to juggle the weaponry around, and you know that OG are going to be coming right back to try and strike FNATIC. No respite just yet, and I imagine no ult for either side, which is a shame because... Oh, no, wait, never mind. I'll take that back. I've just seen one drop. So Man2 is going to have his AWP. I think he's going to be an important factor in this match that we have to be aware of because his T-side AWPing, when it's on point, is terrifying. It is, but it seemed like OG weren't on the same page. They were incredibly slow to buy. After buy time, they still had 3 players in spawn. That's actually given up a little bit of map control, or at least from their perspective they may have. They need to be a little bit more wary of places like Boxhalls, which Valda has now cleared. So, in scratch what I was just talking about. But yeah, as he said, Man2, T-side AWPing can be a real pain in the backside. And FNATIC have got first blood. It's on to Issa. Definitely alleviates some of that pressure and potential threats that are being generated. Just over a minute to play with, and OG only have 1 smoke left, and it's just been tossed out. That's on the B side. It seems like we may have a B hit. No, we don't. They pull back again. They're heading towards Pop Dog, but they've left themselves not too much room for error here, Tom. No more smokes at their disposal.
And the Warriors as well is, well, AlexTB will know as well as I do, there's no point on this map that is clear anymore. They can't say like, oh, 30 seconds ago I cleared this spot, because FNATIC will happily reclaim that control. Brolan, oh, he's spamming wildly. He almost still gets that second kill, and he's got Crims to back him up, who's been on a tear on this round. 4 kills for him, exactly what we want to be seeing. We talk about the consistent stars of FNATIC. You look towards your Brolans, the young gun, and then this man on your screen, our bald brother in arms, who he's looking good, and I'm looking forward to seeing if he keeps up that level of form. Maybe a third map will come up.
They're ticking all the boxes, Tom. They're going in the right direction, and they're picking up pace. Momentum starting to shift. OG, you said, will there be counterplay? Seem to have spotted FNATIC not biting too hard on that fake. They didn't draw out too many players from A towards B. Maybe this is becoming a little bit telegraphed on the side of OG, but they have time. Oh, JW through the smoke. OG at least into an eco, so it won't affect them that much. But you're starting to see that some of their big, heavy hitters on FNATIC are awakening from their slumber. MBK giving Brolan a dirt nap, though, elsewhere on the map. And now the push comes in. Incendiary is going to do a ton of damage. There's no way to extinguish that, and no way for the cross for OG to get the plant. That's important. They can't take their economy forward as much as they would have liked.
Yeah, more importantly, on the other side of things, 1 man lost. So FNATIC doing a better job of keeping some of these rounds clean. This is where things will get interesting once again. Still a few pieces missing here and there from OG. We don't have the AWP yet onto Man2, who's been incredible so far. He's 17 and 8. Obviously, the majority of that came off the AWP on the CT side, which they only won 8-7. So for him to be performing so well definitely means there was a few holes here and there. As I said, I think it was the sheer pace that FNATIC were playing at. It's something we don't see too often. A lot of teams using the clock to, well, it's full capacity, whereas FNATIC, well, they barely let it start. This round, already, they've completely changed their setup once again. It's only going to be Flusher on B, though, and that is where the majority of the Ts are going.
Flusher just needs to stay alive. He's been around the block too many times for fall into the trap of getting too aggressive, especially when he's by himself. Now he can start to get bolstered up from the rest of his teammates. Golden watching the cross. And this is why it's so important to just hold on a little bit longer. I know it may hurt at the time. Your pride takes a hit. You've conceded a bomb plant, but as long as you get back on there intact, you're good to go. 3 players left on OG. MBK exceptionally low. It is hard to see how OG clutch from this point. The good news is the bomb has been ticking away. Molotov tossed in towards the site. It does connect, but there's a smoke down there as well. Golden goes for the full defuse, and now Issa needs to just take him out of the equation. The full defusel's coming in, and Issa's giving it up. He's not interested, and there is enough time, but it's only by the skin of their teeth.
Why is he defusing?
It's a good
They
question.
had 3 kids. Vince, that gave me a genuine panic attack. Like, they had 3 kits or 1 man without, and the one without goes for a 10-second defuse. It's like FNATIC just wanted to play the clock all the way down. Oh dear lord.
And
that was like a point something of a second.
Oh yeah, it was super close. I think that's why Issa didn't even bother going for it, because he just assumed that they had plenty of kits to just go for the fast defuse. So even if you kill 1 guy, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, you lose your AK. Gives you nothing to play with in this round. But no doubt, I'm sure there's a lot of FNATIC fans that just breathe a collective sigh of relief, because that was looking a little bit grim. Broland spinning around, running out of ammunition. Gets put down by Alexi's Deagle. And FNATIC have bridged the gap. After that first half, it was looking grim. But now Mantu and Alexi have to try and post up something miraculous, and instead they are disappeared by FNATIC, who take the lead. Now OG will have another buy. It will include the AWP that we were looking for in Mantu. But what can they get done with it? Because I think it's safe to say, Tom, that the momentum, the general feel of this map is now firmly in favor of the Swedes.
Yeah, we're getting back to what we saw last time, where there was an 8-round streak from FNATIC. Now, last time, there was a big buffer of rounds for OG, so it was kind of an okay situation. This time, they didn't have anywhere near as solid a CT half as they did, so they're starting to come under real pressure from FNATIC. And that's the thing. Like, this is the thing that's most frustrating and most entertaining about FNATIC, is they always play better when they're behind. Flash has just come up with 2 huge kills. Let's not take away from the flash from JW, though, which definitely gave him a helping hand along the way. They're still wanting to go towards this B site. They've left Issa lurking, but realistically, his lurk becomes less and less valuable if they can't take the site.
Yeah, exactly. A look really, and a flank is only as powerful as the foundation that it's built upon. So if your 2 players here from OG both die, then basically Issa is useless. And not by his own doing. So he's smoking down, flashing, trying to keep some of these CTs interested over on the A side of the map. Now he's moving in. Grenade is good. More than good. It's brilliant. It's just shattered Mantu's legs. He'll be limping on his cross to the side, and in doing so, JW actually misses the shot. And now Golden, it's his turn to retaliate with the AK, double headshots. And Issa's flank is for naught. Completely and utterly denied.
Yeah, they had no idea there was a second player there. I like the call again from FNATIC. Like, they initially, after getting the opening kills, made the same sort of assumption that we all did. It was like, okay, you've just killed 2 players aggressive on B. They're probably now going to go A. And then after the time ticked away, they went, okay, let's just split our defense. Let's give ourselves equal opportunity on either side. And wow, there was no way that OG were expecting that. 13 now on the board for FNATIC, a resurgence of sorts, but again, they've looked pretty good throughout this map. And again, we're talking about some of these rounds that they've lost along the way. Let's be real, Vince. They could have made this a lot easier for themselves.
Yeah. I genuinely think had they been a little bit more ruthless, had better instinctual sort of killer instinct, they could have actually finished the map by now. So yeah, completely agree. In their 6 CT rounds on Mirage, OG defused the bomb thrice, once more than FNATIC did in 15. Well, there you go.
I like how you've named the bomb numbers as well. That's a nice touch. I appreciate that. But yeah, and a good time as well for OG to try and have a little think about how they're going to do something in this round. The problem being, although their loss bonus is built, there's no doubt about that. We were looking at, I think it was at least 11-9, maybe even more than that. I think it was 11-8, 11-7 for OG. So yeah, they got the initial 4 rounds. So they are in a position where obviously Issa can buy in the next round, can't really buy in this one. So they're just going to make sure that, oh, he has a chance with the hero AK, and by chance, I mean he's died within 20 seconds. And the rest of the team are just going to invest into pistols so that everybody has a good buy in the next round, and there's no real problems with disjointed economy.
Doubly awkward when you consider that hero AK is miles away on Ivy. Not a single T can get close to pick that one back up again and use it. And in doing so, they're walking into a trap. And it has been sprung into action. It's Flusher that is dealing the main damage. Mantu's Deagle, all that stands, the only architect of some demise. But instead, it's him that falls on his sword. And FNATIC now 3-round lead, probably OG's last chance. If they concede this, they likely will concede the map. Let's see what kind of resistance, what kind of retaliation they have in store.
There's been, I believe, 7 rounds in a row for FNATIC. I mentioned that last time they got 8, so you never know, maybe OG will be able to bring it to overtime. But the difference being, and there's something that Maui's mentioned as well, is that they had some huge individual plays. Someone brought them back from the depths of this map. Already losing Valde, it can't be him. Someone else needs to step up. Now, a lot of the time in these sort of rounds, Alexi's actually the one. Now, you might think, Tom, he's the in-game leader. That doesn't really make much sense, but he does have that just sheer fragging power that can come out of him sometimes. I actually make a comparison to Azza. Like, Azza doesn't necessarily frag a lot for what was 100 Thieves, but sometimes he'll just win you around because they need it. And this is where OG need it most.
Certainly need a hero who will answer the call, if anybody. Does it fall on deaf ears? Golden's AK looking to silence the rallying cry. He did get tagged off that smoke, which I think may give his position away, and Issa darts straight in with the AK-47. Maybe it's the Jordanian that steps up. Slight gap in the smoke. Crims can't really exploit it. Alexi still opting for A-main control. In come the T's. It stands to reason this likely will be an A-centered push, which is why you're seeing most of the CTs congregate around this vicinity. But Issa is still executing players. Brolan tries to pivot around for a second kill, can't get it done. And now JW is smoked off. Not before he can crush another player. Flusher lands the leg shot. He can't deny the bomb plant, but he can deny Mantu's life, and that may be good enough. Alexi with the drop onto Flusher, but he starts the round off with a frag on box walls and comes full circle to get FNATIC in 4 map points.
Maybe questioning why Flusher's doing a little bit of a celebratory dance. It's not just for BM, although the FNATIC guys do like that every once in a while. It's more so that JW can run all the way back in and retrieve a second AWP, something that has been very good for them. And this is what we like to see. The FNATIC guys, smiles on their faces, obviously on their boot camp as well. So I don't know about you, but I myself do think that we'll see a different level from them. And now being all together and being able to pump each other up. I feel like with those sort of glasses, Golden needs to just be on a motorbike and just turn up in like all leather. Like, I think that's what I'm envisioning with that close up. But either way, we're back into the round. It's another fast attempt coming in from OG.
Fast, frenetic, frenzy, and so far it's FNATIC that are feeding. Falda, Mantu, and Alexi. No grenades between the 3 of them, but Flusher continues to impress with the AWP. He is just destroying OG with it right now. Brolan gets in with 2, and now Mantu has to try and clutch a 1v3. No control of the bomb, and his head's removed. FNATIC take map 2. Excellent performance.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you and say I'm disappointed with that, because I wanted a map 3. I wanted an Inferno, a map that's been incredible for FNATIC over history, one they beat OG on, but also one of OG's best map. This is going to be a 3-map thriller. And honestly, after that performance from FNATIC on this map, I am more than excited for what's to come, Vince.
As am I, Tom. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer before we get to Inferno. First, the desk will break down all the action on Train.
Yeah. Unknown brain, Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
I know that I gotta stay away from all your games, yeah. I know that I found somebody else to love me one day, yeah. You'll realize the grass ain't greener on the other side, no. You did me dirty for the last time, so now I gotta say goodbye. So now I gotta say goodbye.
Yeah, my life is lovely now, I'm focused on me. You said you were about to die, I guess the car is on E. But see, I ain't even tripping, cause I just chose to believe that somebody gon' come around and give me just what I need. I don't wanna see you frowning, see you looking down and out. Coming to me crying, saying you miss having me around. Gave you chances and you blew it, you so easily influenced. All the times you told me beat it, now you gotta face the music, I'm saying
I know that I gotta stay away from all your games, yeah. I know that I found somebody else to love me one day, yeah. You'll realize the grass ain't greener on the other side, no. You did me dirty for the last time, so now I gotta say goodbye. So now I gotta say goodbye.
Yeah. Unknown brain, Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
I know that I gotta stay away from all your games, yeah. I know that I found somebody else to love me one day, yeah. You'll realize the grass ain't greener on the other side, no. You did me dirty for the last time, so now I gotta say goodbye.
without a kit. They didn't have one coming into the round. It was only a smoke. They went for a bit more firepower, and they could end up being punished for that. I do wonder, without a kit, yeah, I was about to say just before going up banana, do they even bother going for this? It's like, you know, the chances of getting back onto B are very slim. Without a kit, even less so. And you get the chance to save these Kevlar. Not one of them has taken any damage, so collectively, $350 a piece to upgrade to head armor. You could actually get a pretty damn good second round buy if you just give this up, and that's what they're going to go for.
Yeah, definitely not the start we were necessarily hoping for, but I like that FNATIC are not going to change too much up. Like when we looked at the T side of the last map, it was very brawly, I think is the best way to put it. It was like someone had thrown the first punch in a bar and they were going to have the last one. And well, they definitely did. There's no arguments there. But they've continued it in this map, an aggressive play towards the B site. We are going to see, as you mentioned, a fairly decent second round purchase. In fact, MBK is even going to have a FAMAS pulled into this one, Mantu as well, MP9, Valde with another. And well, again, banana control is the first point of contact for FNATIC, but it's not quite as fast a rush this time as well. This time they have a fairly big advantage. 3 rifles invested. Sure, you still have the 2 standard SMGs, but they have a lot to lose in this round.
Yeah, that is the advantage of swallowing your pride and saving 3 guns. For 3 players, I should say. It hurts at the time, but you just got to realize that it sets you up for maybe success. And Valde with his MP9 spraying out through Golden shuts him down. They need to go retrieve the bomb, which is back on the T steps, and it will be Flusher that goes to pick it up. The rest of his teammates making inroads through middle, which has been vacated from the CTs, but they can lock into position with Issa coming through on Speedway. But it's an AK at range for JW, and he's against the FAMAS and an MP9. So although OG do get the first kill going their way, this is going to be a very difficult hole to pull off. And it stumbles at the first hurdle. NBK's FAMAS now is all that remains. And if he can post up a little bit of threat, draw away a couple players, focus towards Pit, maybe the rest of his teammates can get in close, but OG are hemorrhaging frags, hemorrhaging players, and MBK does at least put one up, but he gets shut down afterwards, and he's the last line of defense, the last player. FNATIC take a 2-0.
Started to look like FNATIC needed to call some sort of pest control. Like he just managed to survive in one of the walls, just that they weren't quite able to clear it out. Like it took them so long, but it turned out in the end that they didn't really need it. Unfortunately, none of the rest of the players had enough utility to clear out the site. It's where you'd normally see a Molotov or 2 dropped over from afar, but obviously being this a 4-spy round for OG, unable to hold on. Definitely, if you're a FNATIC fan, that was maybe a little bit too close for comfort for what was a second round buy. And now you've got the firing squad. All the players at top mid, it's really not going too well, and Brolin decides, okay, this is a money-making scheme for me. He'll boost his finances, and now they go into the next one with what will probably be a bit of a bonus.
Oh yeah, especially with a team like FNATIC, you better believe they're holding on to these SMGs. They're happy with this. It just makes them more mobile. But I think OG will have a good idea as to what's coming up. Like, they're going to know there's a likelihood of at least 1 MAC-10 in play, probably 2. May not realize it's a UMP, but they need to play accordingly. So here comes I believe, a tactical, or may have actually been a technical, which has now been reverted. So we'll be getting back underway very soon. Mantu's gone for the AWP. It is at the cost of any utility or a kit. And Alexi has enough money to dip down to a kit and pick up an AWP. So OG, very good buy, but they need to be able to post up some rounds soon. Otherwise, FNATIC will be off to a pretty insurmountable start.
And this was enough for them on the T side of the last map. Like, they got off to a good start, and then, well, although there was a streak of rounds coming up for OG, it almost felt like there was one coming at all times for FNATIC. They never really let the pressure off Golden. He's only got an SMG to lose. This is a spicy play. He sneaks through the smoke. That's one member of this B-site defense down. But after follow-up nades, they actually don't opt to play off of this. And well, it's not an op, it's an AWP that Brolin has walked into. It's only an SMG loss, so for FNATIC it isn't the end of the world, but I'm sure they would have loved to capitalize off that man advantage.
Yeah, I love the idea as well, Tommy. We were just saying it before. You've got 2 SMGs. They throw both of them basically into the lion's den and just hope for the best to get one trade out. And now Valde has gone down. A lot of damage inflicted, but nowhere near enough. And OG already have to tap out. They pull off the life support. They give up the 4th round. And FNATIC with 2 SMGs are able to trade up to an M4 in golden. Brolan can easily replenish the gun. They may very well just pick up an AWP and put it in the hands of JW. The Swedes are off to a cracking start now, Tom.
And something interesting to mention as well, like we talk about this matchup in terms of the series itself. Now, OG, they have won every single one. However, they haven't beaten them on Inferno. That's been the map wins that FNATIC have actually taken away both times. It was ESL Pro League Season 11. It was a 16-12 in favor of FNATIC. And then just a few days ago in IEM New York, Europe, where it was a 16-11 in favor of FNATIC. All the other maps were Mirage and Train in the majority, and even a Dust 2 in the mix as well. So this is the one map that, although very, very good for OG in isolation, in terms of this actual matchup, it's not gone that well.
The plot thickens. Very good point to raise. So OG, what did they learn from that previous loss? Not too long ago, will be fresh in their mind. I'm sure this is not the start that they were hoping for, especially considering that even with those saved guns, it's still not ideal. Plenty of utility lacking on a few players. Molotovs do get extinguished down on Banana, keeping JW up close on logs. The pace certainly slowing down. It's what we expected on Inferno though, Tom. There's a lot of flirtation between the teams over Banana control. JW gets tagged. I believe that was while Alexi was leaping into the air. Tagged him down to 46, but it's ended a bit of a stalemate with the CTs backing off.
And the interesting thing is, like, while this is all going on, you've still got Brolan consistently probing in towards this A side. That has become his role often on this map. Like, you're going to see him play pit and balcony throughout this matchup. MBK, that is perfect timing, and he's seen nobody else. That gives them the call that this is going to be a B play, but it's down to the 2 B site players to do the majority of the work. Golden finds a trade back. Alexi B yet to frag, but he's actually just patiently waiting. Some spam there could have easily net him 2 kills, and MBK tries to take the initiative, but this is now falling apart for FNATIC. 2 players remaining, Crims and Golden. Golden on just 16 HP and a mountain to climb.
Mountain ahead of him, gets out the hiking boots, but they don't fit. And now MBK, oh, that wasn't too far off. You know, Crim's nearly transferred into a second. It is a costly round, and at least FNATIC get a bomb plant, so they can keep that money going forward. And let's be honest, after 4-0, their funds are just fine. So, OG, yeah, you got yourself around, guys. Well played. It was at the cost of 2 players, but let's see if they can actually connect the dots and start to get some consistency on their CT half.
Well, yeah, that's the most important thing now, is that this doesn't just end up as a one and done. We've seen it a few times where OG weren't really able to build up mountains of cash, and it meant that we saw less and less of the Man 2 AWP. I like this though from Issa. In a cagey round situation, they're taking a fairly big risk, sending him into middle. The battle for Banana, though, ensues, and Issa has managed to catch a kill. Now, the offense is split in their gaze. They've had to look in multiple different angles, and they've been caught all over the shop. It's left on to Flusher. We're only, what, 30 seconds into the round? And he's the last man standing with 16 HP.
How does that medicine taste, FNATIC? You've been doing that to OG over the duration of the day. How does it feel? Probably not
Doing it to
too
people
great.
for years.
Exactly, exactly. But now OG give them a taste of their own medicine, and it turns out it was bitter after all. Flusher, as Tom highlighted, incredibly low HP. 1 bullet will finalize him, so he'll out of the round before he inevitably won. Nice try from Issa, but ultimately Flusher was too quick, and Issa was one of the weakened players on OG anyway, so surplus for requirement. If Flusher were to just try and save this acre, they can buy again, and it's Brolan that's down to a very low amount of money that could maybe prosper from this. Additionally, OG, 3 players easily can rebuy. It's more about MBK and Mantu. It's a bit more of an issue. So I am curious if they even attempt to rush down and take him off the table.
Yeah, I think on most maps, there's too much reliability on you worthwhile. And in fact, he's even just got the biggest problem for Flusher because he's got enough. Prims has insta-bought the Krieg, though. That's intriguing. And it ends up having, I think that was a misbuy. He would drop a Krieg to then receive, unless they've done some incredible math in their heads that works out better for utility if he does that, which...
There's a statistic that MBK won't be wanting to look at. 0. Dumpstered by Brolan, 6-0 in opening duels. Speaking of the SG wielder, I don't think he... I thought, well, maybe he's got a great spawn from middle and he's going to try like a cheeky one-tap or something. Well, go along the same lines as you, that it may have been a mispurchase. It happens. These things happen.
I also did work out better to allow Flush. Brolan is someone who has been known for came out. I'm pretty sure he was joking about it more than anyone that they've just nerfed him. So, benefit of the doubt, that was actually just them working out their economy quite well. But either way, it doesn't really matter. We'll see if he does actually die, whether it was intentional or not. Now... FNATIC are flying to go off with is not bad, but OG are very quickly bouncing back into this one. The last